Hey everyone, I have had this car for 4 years now and I have driven over 40,000 miles. In the past 4 years, I was able to develop a very deep relationship with this car and all of its features, its strengths, and areas for improvement. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about cost and ownership, charging, range and degradation, road trips, autopilot, build quality, and general features that stood out to me. So cost and ownership, I put about $14,000 down payment on this car and I chose to finance it over I think 6 years. I was in no rush to pay it all back. My interest rate was about 1.99% and I had plans to drive this car until it just falls apart and dies on the street. I was in no rush to pay it back. My monthly payment loans is about $300, and then with my insurance, I have Tesla insurance, and that ended up being the cheapest one out of all the companies out there. So I pay about $170 a month. So in total, I pay about $500 for this car. The only maintenance that I have done is replace the rear tires because this is a rear wheel drive vehicle and the front wheels ended up lasting a little longer than the rear ones. Other than that, that's the only maintenance that I have done on this car for the past 4 years. There's no need for oil change or anything because this car does not have an engine. Okay, so charging. Usually for charging, I charge my car at the gym, and at the gym there are these charge point chargers. For about 1 hour of charging, I get about 10 to 12% battery, which is about 20 to 30 miles, and I only pay $1 per hour. Now every station is going to be different. When I was at home living with my parents, we installed a charger that was able to charge my car the same rate as the charge point. So about 1 hour gives about 12 to 15% battery. It's actually a little bit faster. And then there are the regular chargers that you just plug into a wall outlet. This isn't the most efficient way to do it. I probably got about 2 to 3% every hour. The most famous option are the superchargers. I'm at 20% battery. It'll go from 20 to 90% in about 20 to 25 minutes. For the most part, if you charge overnight, it's going to be cheaper, and if you charge during the midday, it's going to be a lot more expensive. So now we're going to talk about the battery, specifically the range and battery degradation. So when I bought this car, it provided an estimated 250 miles on it. When I charge this car now to 100% battery, I get about 225 miles on it. So I mean, if you do like the math, 225 divided by 250, that's about 90%. So my battery is about 90% battery health right now, which is pretty good considering that I own this car for 4 years already and I've driven over 40,000 miles on it. However, I will say that's all just kind of numbers on paper. How does it actually apply, you know, in a real world usage? So for example, I like to view my trips in terms of how much battery they consume. So when I drove from my parents' house to my work, when I first got the car, it used about 9 to 10% battery. But now when I drive from my parents' house to work, I use about 10 to 11% battery, and I try to keep everything, you know, the same. So I drove the same route, I drove the same speed, it was the same time of day, same temperature outside. I tried to keep all the variables consistent and constant, and I do notice that it takes about an extra 1 to 2% now to get to work than it did when I first got the car. However, at the end of the day, it really doesn't make a big difference to me in my driving habits because there are chargers everywhere and I have enough battery to get back home to charge it. And then I will say driving uphill consumes more battery, obviously, and then when driving downhill, the car actually regenerates battery. So when I was driving downhill from Mammoth once, I got actually like I think 2 to 3% battery gain. So that's kind of cool and interesting. Okay, so let's talk about road trips. So road trips are definitely doable in this car. I will say that if you are the type of person that just wants to get to the destination as fast as possible, this car is not for you. You are going to have to stop at superchargers along the way, and there are superchargers like everywhere now. Compared to back then, like it has grown in the numbers, just especially in Los Angeles.
but nationwide as well. So you're gonna have to stop at a supercharger, and every time you stop at a supercharger, it's going to take 20 to 30 minutes to get your battery from like 10% all the way back to like 90%. So it's not the quickest option if you're doing a road trip, but I will say it is a pleasant experience because usually where the superchargers are located, there's stuff for you to do when you get out of the car. So if you need to do a bathroom break, you can do a bathroom break. If you want, there are several shops nearby this one place, and it makes you stop at places that you normally wouldn't stop at otherwise, and it just kind of makes you kind of enjoy the beauty and the journey of the road trip. Okay, so let's say that we're gonna go to Vegas for the weekend. So we just go ahead and type in Vegas in the destination, and then as you can see, Tesla just maps out the entire trips for you. It shows you what superchargers you're going to stop at. It shows you what percentage battery you're going to arrive with at the supercharger. So yeah, everything is planned out for you, and it will show you like what percentage battery you're going to have in the car when you arrive at the destination. Now, let's say if you want to stop at another supercharger along the way that's not on the map, you can just click on this little button here, and then you can add the supercharger destination to the spot, and then you can charge there. And granted, if you're more than welcome to stay at a supercharger and charge longer than the car is telling you to, so you're always more than welcome to do that too. So with road trips, would I stay with the standard range or would I go with the long range? Honestly, I would stick with the standard range because one, if I'm going on a road trip, I'm just gonna have my friends drive, and two, I don't really do much road trips anyways. Most of my driving is done in the city to work, around the city to do errands. That driving habit alone, standard range does that just fine. There's chargers everywhere, so I'd rather just save the thousands of dollars difference from standard range to long range and invest that instead. So let's go ahead and talk about Autopilot, and this is the one feature that comes standard with every vehicle. Now, I won't be talking about the full self-driving because I did not pay extra for that. Tesla did give us a 1-month free trial, and I tried it out, and it was the worst thing ever. It just reminded me of 16-year-old me learning how to drive. It was horrible. So I'm just going to be talking about the standard self-driving, which is it will auto steer for you, and it will change the speeds based on the distance of the car in front of you. Now, when I first got this car, it took me a little bit to trust it because, honestly, it's a car driving. Like, it was like crazy at the time. But now I trust it. I will say that autopiloting at a lower speed is a lot more safer than autopiloting at a higher speed. Duh. So in order for autopilot to work, all the cameras around the car need to be unobstructed, and every 2 minutes there will be a screen prompt to put some pressure on the steering wheel. This is to make sure that you have your hands on the steering wheel in case you need to take over, and to make sure that you're paying attention to the road as well. We're going to talk about the build quality of the car. The only two things that I noticed were like the door panels. They don't sit flush. Like my driver's side door, it sticks out a little bit, and then also this visor panel thing, it like came loose from the ceiling somehow, so I just had to screw it back in, but I don't know how that came loose. Other than that, I would say the build quality is okay. This isn't a luxury car, so I'm not like expecting too much of it, but for what it is, I think it was fine. I think I got lucky. There were some other people that were like complaining on the forums, but for my car, I think I got lucky. Let's go ahead and talk about Sentry Mode. Sentry Mode is one of the features that stood out to me at the time because when I was looking at buying a car in 2020, not many cars had this available. Sentry Mode is basically a police that, is around your car. I like this because if I leave my car, the cameras that are used for autopilot are watching the car's surrounding, and if it suspects anything suspicious or detects motion, it's going to go ahead and record it, which is very, very nice because if someone comes and breaks my window or tries to unlock my door or get in the car or, key scratch my car, like my car will get footage of that, and then I can show it as evidence to the insurance when I make a claim. In addition, if I'm driving and then let's say like I got a hit and run, like somebody hits me and then just drives off and I can't even get the license plate or whatever, I can go ahead and click on the camera button and it will record everything that has happened. So it just provides an extra sense of security, and I love it. Updates. This is the unique thing about Tesla, and I'm sure other car manufacturers are doing this now, but for Tesla, it's almost like your phone. You know, every so often you're going to get updates. For Tesla, same thing. Every month or so, you're going to get an update. Some of them are just bug fixes, and then some of them are complete UI overhauls. We just had one recently where it was a complete UI overhaul, and I love these updates because every time I get these updates, it makes me feel like I just got a brand new car. Even though this is 4 years old, it just makes me feel like I'm driving a new vehicle, and it gives me that sense of like, even though this car is 4 years old, it still has the same software and same UI interface as a new 2024 Tesla. And because of these software updates, I feel like I just don't need to upgrade my car all the time. So I'm driving this to the ground. Another feature that I like that stood out to me, I am able to control the car with my phone. So if I want to turn on the AC before I get in the car and it's a hot day out, I can do that. If I want to turn on the seat warmers before I get in the car and it's cold out, I can do that. If I want to open the trunk, if I want to open the front, if I want to check my insurance policy, the mileometer thing, like I can check all of that in the app, and it's just so convenient because it's all in one place. But it also could be inconvenient if you lose your phone, especially that because my phone is my car key. So don't lose your phone. Phone honestly is a second organ to me. I haven't lost my phone yet, knock on wood, but we'll see. And then the last thing I will mention are these white leather seats. At first I was scared about getting these white leather seats because I mean they're white and you know they show dirt and you know quicker than black leather seats. But I will say that maintaining these white leather seats is easy. If I get dirt on them, I just get my seat leather cleaner and it just comes off like that. To this day, they maintain their whiteness, but there is some wear and tear. Like there's some like wrinkles where my butt is, and I mean that's unavoidable. But in terms of like maintaining its whiteness from me coming in after sitting on the grass and me sitting after sitting in the dirt or the sand and me getting my butt sweat all on the seats, when I clean my seats with that leather cleaner, it just comes right off and it's like white again like the day I bought it. No regrets getting the white seat, and I love it because it just matches the exterior of the car too, and it's just all in sync, and it just calms my OCD brain down.
So that is it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Would I get this car again? 110% yes. It is a pleasure to drive every day, and it feels like I get a new car every month with the updates. Would I get the same exact car? No, I probably would get the Model Y instead. I would have more space to put the junk in the trunk with that car, and I can't really do that with this car. Other than that, I would get this car again. 100% recommend it to anyone out there looking to go to an electric vehicle. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Bye.